Okay, so in my little email that I sent out, I gave my favorite statistics because as somebody's already messaged me on Slack today and informed me that I'm a nerd, I like the little numbers and stuff. So statistics say that 82% of satisfied customers will leave testimonials and reviews, and only 11% of small businesses ask for them. And I think that there's this data about, how many companies are actually have built, strategies around, getting that information, but there's not a whole lot of research out there about the whys. And so I've kind of done my own investigating. FemCity virtual coffees are a really great place to talk to a lot of different people, but also just having sales calls. I've talked a lot about going to the Atlanta Small Business Expo in December. I've had hundreds and hundreds of sales calls over the last almost decade now. And when you hear, like, these are targeted questions I specifically ask. How do you collect testimonials and referrals? Do you collect testimonials and referrals? And the overwhelming majority say that they collect them, but they don't actually have a mechanism for doing so. So the only reason that a referral comes into their business is because someone actually went the extra mile and did the work for them. So, and here's my theory on the people that do. So, because that one I think is actually easy and this is my expert and also humble opinion. So go to a networking event and talk to 10 people in the room, and you will know at the end of the evening who your connectors are and who your takers are. And the key difference is that person who says, I know somebody who does that, or I know a person that can help you with this particular thing, or let me give you an introduction to this person over here, or just in general, they know everyone. So in being a newcomer to Roanoke, Annika and I have met a couple of people that whenever we come upon something that we don't know about Roanoke, we go to the same people every time. We want to know, where's the best ice cream shop, or I need a reputable and ethical plumber. I'm going to ask the same person that information because that's somebody who is really good at making those connections. Connectors are the people that are also naturally thinking about who else can I put in front of your business that can help. How can you help them the way that you helped me? So that's kind of like those unique people. Like, it's not just because, oh, you've really made such a marvelous difference for 11% of the people than you did for the other 89%. It's really just that their brains are more wired to be thinking about those opportunities, whether it be because they're thinking about you or they're thinking about that person that might actually need your services. And, oh my God, I've got a solution for you. You need to talk to Judith about her specific program for this specific offering. So like, that's kind of how their minds specifically work. And it doesn't mean that you're either a connector or a taker exclusively. It's just that there's those folks that are more inclined to be thinking from that mindset, whereas other folks may need a little bit more coaching, a little bit more prompting to create the barriers or create the ideas about exactly who it is that you want to be working with. Hi, Renee, great to see you. We are talking about our referral programs and how we can build structure around those. So I was just explaining to our group about, what makes those people who are willing to provide referrals by themselves without prompting, what makes those people unique? So recognizing that they are such a small percentage of our customer base, what we really need to do is be figuring out what are the things that we can do to motivate, to inspire, to excite, to engage, to create raving fans out of those other folks. But I think it's also helpful to take a quick minute to think about what are the reasons why most small businesses don't focus on referrals. Anybody have a guess as to, or want to share why they don't? If you don't have it automated right now, I'm guessing if you're here, you don't. Why don't you specifically go and ask for referrals on a consistent basis? Anybody?
For me, it's just not in I just haven't put it into my routine. Now, having said that, my business has been built entirely on referrals. And my clients go out and tell other people about me, and they send me a text and they go, hey, so-and-so is going to contact you. So that's just been a natural thing for me. I know as I work more in a cold market and I have people who are pleased with what product they buy from me, then I'm going to need to be more proactive about getting referrals.
Yeah.
A friend of mine did give me, and I was looking for it, I can't find it, I got to get it from her again, a sheet that you can actually walk someone through writing a testimonial from you so that you can take things out of that and use it in your social media marketing. And you can even give them suggestions. You know, here's 3 things that you can fill in the blank about me, you know, so you make it super easy for them, because people don't do that kind of stuff because they don't want to stop and think, you know, so you can just make that a part of what you do.
To your point about the testimonial, so when we send out our testimonial request, which is automated, we have, I give examples in there. So to your point about, because like, they don't know what they don't necessarily always know what to say. They don't always know who to refer. So when you're asking for a referral, just saying, hey, if you have anybody that you think would be interested in my services, that puts a lot of responsibility on your customer to fill in the blanks for you. So if they can picture like a copycat of themselves, they can certainly, you know, that may work, but that may not be the be all end all. Whereas if you say, I'm specifically looking for people in middle-aged adults who are struggling with chronic knee pain, who are not currently focused on a surgical solution, that is going to be a very specific referee versus saying, oh, just anybody who may have a sports-related injury or something along those lines. So now when they're talking to somebody who's like limping or says, I can't get around my house anymore, they've got a specific, oh, wait a minute, you just said something that triggered my memory. I know somebody that can help. Let me introduce you to Renee. She's the woman who helped me fix my knee problems. Does that make sense? So the other things that I think about is, and this is chronic small business issue, is we are so focused on lead generation that we don't think about the potential cash cow that's literally sitting within our customer database already. And that comes from repeat business as well as those referrals and testimonials. So as soon as we get the customer, we stop paying attention to all of the potential that they still have within our business for us to actually, you know, reap from them. And that sounds kind of icky and gross, but that's kind of like, if you think about the cost of acquiring a new customer, a referral is going to go a lot further than that cold lead who filled out your free offer, because the mountain that you have to cross over is much smaller. So I think that like, if I was to put them in order of most significant reason why people don't focus on it, is because we always want to focus on what's going to be funneling money into our business. And we hear over and over and over again, lead generation, lead generation, lead generation. What's the number one complaint of every small business? Qualified lead generation. Every time, over and over again. And so you think, okay, well, now that they're a customer, I'm going to focus over here and find my next customer, which is expensive and unreliable, you know, by and large. The other thing that I think comes up for a lot of people is it's scary. And there is an emotional vulnerability element to asking people to leave a referral and also a testimonial. And so that is my kind of segue into, why do we automate it? So we have our workflow, which we're going to spend the bulk of our time looking at our emails, looking at our workflow. We can actually do this as fast or as slow as you guys would like, because it's a small group and you have all of the tools inside your app. So when we do the work once, then you don't have to do it over and over again. You don't have to remember, oh, at the end of the month, I have to go send out an email to all of my customers and ask them for testimonials and referrals. You don't have to manually specifically pay attention to this particular person and follow up with them individually. You could certainly do that as an added benefit, but it's not a requirement, because if you can set it up in advance and say, my rule is after they've been a customer for a certain period of time, I'm going to have them move into that referral workflow. They've had enough time to practice with you. They've had enough time to get a taste of the kind of work that you do. Now that follow-up is going to happen automatically without you having to manage it and oversee it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at our actual workflow, and I'm going to pull up our automation on a mission. If you all could please help me remember to not actually edit in here, because I keep doing that and messing it up, but it is like a good consistent place where all of the stuff is exactly the same as what you guys have. Okay, So if we pop over into, and I'm actually gonna do two of them because I really like having two tabs. And some of this stuff might feel redundant for Linda and Judith, but Renee, since you are new to our trainings, whenever I'm working in our system, I usually have 2 or 3 automation on admission tabs open. And the reason for that is because it allows me to work simultaneously, both in a workflow and in other elements of the system at the same time. So if I'm going to work on my referral request, so we've got 2 workflows specifically for this training. But if I'm going to work on my referral request, I'm going to look at my emails in another tab, and that way I don't have to back all the way out and then lose track of where I'm at. So in my templates under marketing, am I still in the right one?
Before we go too far into the automation, I really could use some help, like right here, right now. I've got a client who loves me. He's the one that I got as soon as I got automation. I worked with him in 2018. I started working with him and his staff in December. I finished the contract last month, and he's ghosting me, almost ghosting me. And at the time I did ask for a referral. I did a slide presentation. I had a great big hat, and I said, here's a bonus bigger than my hat. If you give me a referral, you'll have a half-hour call with me for free. None of his staff took me up on it. And now I've been calling him and calling him. I have a meeting tomorrow with a really hot lead, and I've asked him to please give me a referral. He said to me today, I will call you soon, because I said, my meeting's tomorrow, dude.
Okay.
So I love what you just said about in particular. So how can I walk him through giving me the referral? We did several things. We did a SWOT analysis, and then we did a return on invested time for time management and effective conversations.
Okay. So based on what I hear you saying, in an ideal world, this referral that he provides for you. Okay. So are you asking for a referral or a testimonial?
Testimonial. I want to be able to say, this is what that client said. I'm offering you the same thing. This is the benefits you could expect, but more from him. I know what the hell the benefits are.
Yep. So, okay, a couple of things. Number one is, so one thing that you can do is think about the testimonial that you want for him, because you're specifically focusing on this call or this meeting that you have tomorrow. Be thinking about providing, it's not so much about the work that you've done with him, but the outcomes that you created with him and the applicability it will have towards the person that you're meeting with tomorrow. So yes, you worked on a SWOT, and like those are literally just means to an end. Like, what was the transformation? What was the end result? And is there a way to draw a parallel between that relationship and that outcome to the kind of work that you would be doing with this future client? Because that's the way that they're going to relate. The other thing that I would say is that a testimonial isn't your only option. So you can write a case study that would also, walk them through that process. So what is your, create your own story. So last week when we were promoting the Business to Launch Bootcamp, I shared a customer story. Customer stories can be problem focused. It also could be solution focused. So this is what they came to me dealing with, and this is what I did to help them, and these were the results that I produced with them. So that way you can give a clear example of exactly what that specifically looks like. So you're not going to always get somebody to like do what you want all the time, but like having this process is going to substantially increase those odds for you. I think that your personalized follow-up is great, and the fact that he responded suggests that he's not ghosted you. There may be something more going on. He may have other things that he wants to talk to you about at the same time. Who knows where that's going to go. And all of those things will speak to both the testimonial and the referral. And I think it's worth mentioning that, so the last training we did 2 weeks ago was on creating your testimonial workflow and turning that on. And that was specifically using the reputation management part of your system that's connected to your Google business page. And then this training is focused on the referral, asking for referrals. So that's some, customer bringing you fish. And then our next training, which is the 28th of February, Annika is going to be hosting it. because, well, and none of you guys are actually going to be there because, well, Renee might be there, but you two will not because we will be at the boot camp because I didn't look at the calendar when I picked that random date out of the sky. But that day, we're actually going to focus on the umbrella over these two workflows, and that is creating a satisfaction survey. And so one way that you can do this so that you kind of control the environment is to use a satisfaction survey to ask them a single question. It's one sentence. Hey, thanks so much for working with us. We'd love to hear how satisfied you were with the work that we've done with you. Happy face, neutral face, frowny face, and then depending on what they click, which they can do from anywhere, they can then go to your referral or testimonial, or they get an email that says, you know, I'm going to follow up with you personally to figure out what we could do to make sure that you're happy. So that's kind of the flow here of what we're talking about in terms of testimonials, review or referrals, and then how do we tie it all together and also create a safety net so that you have a bit more control over who's posting reviews on your Google business page.
Very helpful. Thank you very much, because I wrote in his contract, I interviewed him and what his objectives were. So we met all those objectives. I can use exactly what he had told me before because it's his words.
Okay.
And then we did accomplish that. Okay, thank you very much.
Great. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to our thing. Okay, so one tab, I have the referral workflow, and the other tab, I have my emails. So just to walk you through the first tab, so actually, and I'm going to go back a step because I always get feedback, I go too fast. So on the left-hand side is your menu. So you're going to click on automations. Judith, are you able to do this and listen at the same time?
I'm looming it, and so I'm gonna watch you and then come back through it. Okay.
Okay. And then there's also a Zoom recording. It's going to go in the Facebook group, and then it's also going to go in the help desk. I will make sure that at a minimum, starting with the testimonial training we did a couple of weeks ago, that these business boosters are showing up in there. So that way they're searchable and easy to find.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So you start on your navigation, you click on automations. You go to your, well, where it shows up on the pages is totally different depending on how many workflows you've created. But it's called number 9A is your referral request. So we have two different workflows, one for asking for the referral and the other is just an acknowledgement. Thank you so much for doing that. It keeps things nice and clean and tidy. Those could probably be consolidated if you wanted. At the time, it seemed like a great idea. So starting at the very top, our triggers could be, and this is, let's say right now you are in full business swing of things and you're trying to figure out how do I get people that are already customers, I want to ask them for referrals. You can simply tag them with this new customer tag. This should already be present in your app. That's going to trigger this automation and that will allow you to do that. Just keep in mind that if you were to do that right now and you don't change anything in your workflow, they're going to sit at this timer for 30 days. So everybody's customer journey is different. So 30 days may be enough time for some businesses. It may not be enough time for others. It may be too long for somebody else. And so we always encourage you to come in and make adjustments to this based on what's going to be best for your business. But this new customer tag is actually the tag that triggers the testimonial as well. So if you put them in here, I think the way it's set up is they're actually going to go into two workflows at the same time, testimonials and referrals, but they're going to get the testimonials first at 15 days and they're going to get the referral at 30 days. So I just wanted to make sure that that sort of big picture awareness was there. Feel free to change your timer. So if we click on the actual brown rectangle, we can adjust the parameters here. So if you wanted to shorten or lengthen that time, you can also do something like, let's say, for example, there are 10 people in your database right now that you really just want to focus on getting them in here and you don't want them to sit at a 30-day timer. You can turn this off, you can delete it. So just delete the action. If you delete all the actions, you'll delete the entire workflow, so don't do that. But deleting this one action is just going to remove this one timer. And then you could actually put people in here and they would start right away. And then you would just need to come back and put another timer in And then you'd create your settings for however many days, weeks, so on and so forth that you want to add. Any questions about that part, just in terms of how you can use this retroactively for clients? Any questions there?
So can I just clarify, this is already built? We just
Yes.
come in and use this workflow? Okay,
Yep.
and I just want to clarify, so I have a bunch of very satisfied people, so I can put them in this for both testimonials and referrals and just change the first timer of wait 30 days?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So you could do it like, let's say, for example, you want to just use the tag, because I'm going to show you another way you can put people in here that doesn't involve the tag, which will allow you to add people just to this workflow. And so that means excluding the testimonial altogether. But let's say, for example, you do want to use the testimonial tag. So the new customer tag. If you apply that tag, then they're going to get both experiences. You could say run testimonial right now and run referral requests in 7 days. And that will give you a little bit more of a buffer time. So you've got full customizability for how you want to run those timers.
And do I have to use new customer as the tag? Can I put previous client or happy client, or or is that?
You can change the tag in here to anything that you want. You just have to make sure that if you have a specific tag that you want to use, that you create a tag and you add it in here.
Okay.
So let me show you. So if I was to say, let's say you want to customize this for yourself and you want to say happy customer. So that tag does not already exist in this system. So I typed it in there. And then if I click add new tag, it's going to be added in here. And my entire tag list will include a tag called happy customer that I can then go and apply to individual contacts.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And a lot of this stuff should feel familiar if you've done any of that work in Keep as well, Judith.
Yes.
So right now we've got our tag. You can have other triggers that you choose to add. And then we're going to wait 30 days. And then we're going to send our first referral request. So the way this is kind of intended to be on a universal level is that anytime somebody makes a purchase, there's other workflows that are delivering on that product or service or what have you. That's where that tag is being applied. So the intention is not that you're manually applying a new customer tag, but there's too many variables, even amongst the three of you, that we can't control when we're creating the solution. So we're trying to make it as universal as possible. So tag is applied or workflow trigger is achieved, 30 days, we get our first email. So the first email, the template is titled referral request number 1. And that's when we go to our second tab. So we go to automation on a mission. We go to marketing. We click on, or we hover over emails, click on templates. And that brings me to a library of folders. So we're looking for the folder that's called referral requests. And in here, all 3 emails that are a part of that particular workflow, this is where those emails live. So if I want to see what the emails look like, I can come in here and I can review the email, and you want to customize this email. So all of our stuff is made to be we're going to do as much of the work as we can for you, as much of the heavy lifting to get you to the finish line. So what you need to do is come in, Judith, and look at where the bold is in brackets and personalize that specific area. So obviously read the whole thing and make sure that I'm speaking in a language and a voice that resonates with you. Adjust things. Feel free to take out a comma or 2. I apparently use an excessive amount. I think Annika's checked this stuff a couple hundred times, but you never know. I like to sneak them in there where they don't belong. And then personalize the areas where it really pays to be specific on what services you're providing and what outcomes you were creating for those clients, because that's going to be what's going to be most helpful to them. So insert customer avatar details that will help you with help your customer visualize the kind of people you work with. So the more broad you are, the harder it is for them to actually visualize that person. But like I gave for the example for Renee, like she's got a specific customer avatar in terms of who she works with, in terms of knee pain. That's going to help them picture who, not only who is qualified to work with her, but who is not qualified to work with her. So help your clients by eliminating all of the distractions as well. And then we have a submit referral. So right now, I think that goes to a form in our system, which is not a good situation, but let me put, and this is where that third tab comes in handy. So in my third tab, I'm going to work on forms. So the form lives under sites and then forms. And let's actually create it for automation on a mission. I'm going to start on the options tab. And I'm
Renee
gonna
has
say,
a question.
yes, ma'am.
If you've already, I've had like 5 or 6 clients set up with the referral, I'm asking for a referral request. If I have to go in there and change that email, would it change them for all of them, even though I've already set them up to?
Yes, so if
Yeah.
you, okay, so that's a good question. So if, when you edit this email template, when you edit this one right here, it's going to edit it universally. So anywhere you've assigned referral request number 1 to go out, that's what's going to go out. So
Okay.
let's say, for example, you've got somebody who's at, let's look at the workflow. Let's say, for example, you've got somebody who's sitting here at the 3-day wait timer, and you go in and you edit this email, they will get the new email as long as you save your changes.
Mhm.
So once this email has gone out, whatever the version was when the email was deployed, that's the version they get. So once it's left the automation on a mission, you can't change anything, but you can edit it for future uses or emails that exist in the future, as long as they haven't been sent. Okay, so we have our referral request. So I called it a referral form. That just helps me find it. I'm going to say full name, and I'm going to specify. So the name of the field is the full name, but I want to specify in here your name, because believe it or not, people get confused. And I'm going to say your email. And then I can't remember, do we have a divider? I don't think so.
No, you have to do that with CSS.
Okay. All right, is that spelled right? I'm gonna go with yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So under custom fields, we've got referring name, referring phone number, and referring email. So I've specifically pointed out the difference because otherwise people are more than likely going to create a form and put the referrer's name and email in here. We really want it to be associated with that person, so we stop asking them to give us referring information. Does that make sense? Any questions about that? Okay, and then we're gonna put a little button, and I'm not gonna style it, but I do want to put it.
Hey, I'm sorry to split hairs here.
Yes, ma'am.
But wouldn't under your referee information be referee name, referee phone number, referee instead of referring? Because your referring is your customer, the referee is the person they're sending to you, correct?
Probably. Let's go with that for now, and then I'll
Okay.
change the custom fields too. Thank you. The phone number. Referee email. Okay, so and I'm actually gonna make these required. So that checkbox will make it required. And then let's make our button say, send your referral. And we're going to save. And now my form here is I could take my form back over here to my email to submit my referral. So now when they fill that form out, so here's what's going to happen just from a user standpoint for you all. When they fill out the form and they give their name and their email, nothing changes in their system, in your system for their details, but you've got custom fields in your record. So let me use name specifics for specifics. I send a referral request to Linda. Linda gives me a referral of Judith. So Linda fills out the form. She puts her name and email at the top, and she gives me Judith Ritchie's name, email, and phone number at the bottom. So when I go into Linda's contact record, I'm going to see Judith's name, email, and phone number as custom fields in Linda's account, in Linda's contact record. So in order for now that to be a contact record that I can use to follow up, I have to manually create a new contact record for Judith. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so unfortunately, there's no way of giving Linda credit for filling out the form and also creating a new record and making that an effortless process for you. So just sort of be aware of that one piece. It's been something that's tripped people up in the past. So we've got our submit referral. We make our edits. Our email is beautiful. We remember to look at our subject lines, spread the love to your friends. Amazing. And then we save our work. And then we go back. And I'm going to do this in order. So email one, we don't have to change anything here because we personalized the email in the templates. We didn't change, like, if you created a whole new version of this, you'll want to come in and then go and find that new version. But if all you're doing is editing the original copy that you have in your system, then you don't have to change anything. So look at the rest of your flow. We're going to wait 3 days, and then we're going to send the next referral request. It is called referral request number 2. So we come in here, we look at our referral request number 2 email, we personalize it, we make sure that we upload our own amazing image right there. I'm going to just update that form. We check our subject line. And I'm showing you these things too, because sometimes we put, merge field information in here. So always check your subject lines and make sure that there's nothing in there that needs to be personalized. We save our work. And now email 2 is ready to go. So we come back to our workflow. We're going to wait a week, and then we're going to send email number 3. The template is called referral request number 3. Come back over here. Look at our referral request number 3. Make the same changes. The form is exactly the same. So we ask for the referral 3 times because we know that it sometimes takes people multiple times of getting that request, like Linda's experiencing with her testimonial. I think that your personalized follow-up when you think somebody has that potential is great. I don't think that there's anything wrong with doing that. Let's check our subject line one more time. Do you know someone I can help? That's great. Save the template. And then come back. So we're going to wait 1 week. So we put a timer here. If you wanted to create additional emails because you want this to go longer, like maybe you wait 6 months and you ask again. Even if they've been given a referral request once, does not mean that they can't give a second or a third or a fourth. But there's a catch to that. When they submit the form, the second workflow is going to come into action, and that's going to take them out of here. So there's nothing wrong with asking on an ongoing basis. Just know what the response is in terms of, like, they actually did what you want, so we stop asking them. Any questions about this workflow by itself? Okay, so we've got our form. At the moment, there's nothing super sexy about it, but you can style it and make it pretty. You can embed it on a page on your website or create a landing page in Automation on a Mission and nest it in there. All of those things are great options. They fill out your form. And when they fill out your form, they go into the second workflow, which is referral form success. Now, this one is not fancy at all. It really is just, we achieved the goal, which is submitted the referral. So we've got our trigger, which is that they filled out that form. The form is all that they need to do. We're going to remove them from that workflow, the one where we were asking them over and over again to give us a referral. And then we have a simple nuts and bolts. Thanks so much for taking your time to share your referral. Really appreciate it. Feel free to change that. So we didn't put this in the email templates because there's nothing, it's literally just text. So you don't even have to go into your email templates to modify that. So that email lives there and you're all good to go. So that is your referral request. That is your referral success. In order to make both of these work, they have to be moved from the draft to the published position and then saved. Any questions here? Okay, so then I want to show you real quickly. So when they're published, they're green and they say published, and when they're in draft mode, they're gray. So it's very noticeable when they're not in a ready position. Also, if they're not in a draft or in a ready position or a published position, you can't add them with our quick action buttons. So like if you said, add somebody, let's say, for example, we want to add Sir Reginald Fancy Pants into our workflow, it's actually not going to show up because it's not published. So the only workflows that appear in this list are ones that are published. So example number 1 of how you could put someone in here without using a tag is find their contact record, check the box, the little robot head. This is a quick action button. So if you hover over any one of these buttons, it tells you what happens. So if I click on the robot head, I'm going to add them to a workflow. I say, okay, I can say add to whichever workflow I want. And then I can choose to send them in there all at the same time. I can schedule for a future date. I can drip them in like chunks, like 100 at a time, for an example, or 10 at a time. And then you always have to name it. You can just, put a bunch of characters. It doesn't mean anything, whatever you name it. If you say add at a scheduled time, you have to actually choose the date and time that you want to start it. And click that save button. And then it'll add them to that workflow based on whatever time you chose them there. Yes, ma'am. You're on mute, Renee.
If you go back to that one, once you push on the client and you push a workflow, that's where I couldn't get the referral form to work in this flow. Does it not supposed to work in this flow, or it's just something?
It should. So if it's not showing up, it's because it's probably not published.
It's not what?
It's probably not published. So after
Okay.
our training, stay on for an extra couple of minutes and we'll take a look at yours and we'll troubleshoot anything that might be happening.
Okay.
Linda, did you just get flowers for Valentine's Day? Oh my gosh. Yes, no. Oh, that's so cute.
That's so sweet. You need to go see my live I did today about me and red roses on Instagram.
Linda, I think that
I got this one from my daughter's family.
Oh, sweet.
That's so cute. Okay, so option number 1 is to create a tag or apply a tag to a record. Option number 2 to get them into the workflow is to pull your list of people or search for your people that you want to invite into your workflow. Click on the little robot head, assign the workflow, and choose, your send settings now, later, or in batches. Another option, and this honestly, if I'm going to do it, like if I'm going to cherry pick one particular contact, this is my preferred method because I like to see what's actually happening. So we're going to look at Sir Reginald Bartholomew Fancy Pants, and in his record, we can apply that tag. We can also look at the campaigns or workflows that he's actively involved in, or the ones he's been involved in the past. So if Sir Reginald Fancy Pants was in the referral workflow in the past, it will show up down here in the past area. If not, I can simply go here and click this add button. And again, once it's published, I can choose the workflow I want to add him to, and I can choose to send it now or send him at a future date. If you decide you want to put Reggie into the workflow right away, you can leave this blank. You don't have to do anything here. You can literally just choose the workflow, click the add button, and they go into the workflow.
Okay.
So like so many things in any technology platform, there are about 15 different ways that you can achieve it. If Annika was doing this training, she would probably tell you she has her own way of doing it that's completely different than mine, if for no other reason, because we're complete and total opposites. So just you will find the method that works the best for you, and also the one that's probably the easiest to remember. But I like seeing the activity. If you have it fully automated, like you have a process where anytime somebody's buying something from you, that they get that new customer tag, then it's already done. And then you don't have to deal with that emotional thing of like, what if I'm not good enough? And what if they don't say things? Or what if they don't give me a referral? Like, because you've already done that personal work when you set it up and turned it on, and then you walk away and you let that go, which is typically what I recommend for the mindset issues for people who are scared, is like all we're doing is trying to be of service to more people. And if they have somebody, they will share that. Sometimes they just need a little extra nudge. So that would be how you can edit your workflow, edit your emails, customize that workflow to your timeline, and then how you can add people both through automation and through tags or through manual entry through a contact record. Questions, comments, thoughts, feedback? Renee.
You know, when you see where it says first name, last name, how do you change those particular words, those categories for your own business?
You want to change first name and last name?
No, because on mine it has other questions. It has, you know, are you rating this company and stuff like that? That's stuff that I won't use.
Okay, so you have questions, custom fields here that may not, so those are kind of out of the box. So you do have things that came with your app, like all of these things down here. So these are custom fields that came with your app. So if you click on settings, and then you go to—
I didn't see how you pushed on settings.
Oh, sorry, let me go back one more time. Okay, so at the very bottom left-hand corner, it says settings, it's got a little cog.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna be about halfway down the screen, click on custom fields. And then when you're looking at these questions here, the questions are, I think that they're not even in the order that they were. I don't know exactly how they're sorted, to be perfectly honest. It might just be by folder. So the folders are the different sections. So let me show you what I mean by that. And this has actually been some of the new features that have been added in the last couple of months. So it used to be that you had unlimited custom fields, but they would just be this long running list. And now we have folders that we can organize things in different buckets. So additional info is a folder. Maybe you have one for like intake questions, or another one for like if there's information that you want to know about, like new customer onboarding. So like whatever is helpful for you to help you organize that information into like categories, be thinking about your folders like categories. So if you wanted to get rid of a custom field, you check the box, click the delete button. If you want to move it to a different folder, you can move to a group and adjust where that particular custom field lives. You know, if you wanted to organize things in a different way that works better for you. So you have a lot of functionality here. Anything else? Who is going to turn on their referral automation? Anybody?
Eventually.
That's good. That's good.
I have a bunch of other stuff to do before I get to that, but eventually, yes.
Okay, so what if you did it like this? So we talked about, I sent this in an email about picking low-hanging fruit. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example. Here's low-hanging fruit for me. So mindless, mind-numbing information, like when I can't do like things that require brain power, I work on the help desk, and I have 3 pages of stuff that still needs to get moved into the help desk. And if I like, depending on how much brain power I really have, I will choose something bigger or smaller. So maybe editing your emails is low hanging fruit. Take 15 minutes, review those emails, because that one is super generic. Like I can totally understand if you want to take a little bit more time on your indoctrination, where you're talking about value propositions and what makes your business special, and sharing customer stories. But referral stuff isn't like there's not a lot of uniqueness that really needs to be put in there, as much as it is like, really, who do you want to be working with and how can they help you find them? So like, think about those things. Like, I really do not have the mental capacity to work on my course right now, but I have 15 minutes. I'm going to pound out those emails, or I have 15 minutes. I'm going to go in and tweak my timers for my automation. make a goal. I'm going to use this system. I'm going to find one person in my database. Now that my referral automation is live, I'm going to find one person and I'm going to start them in there.
Okay.
So I'm challenging you to pick little projects, like mini wins, and then I'm challenging you to turn it on and use it. What it will do is force you to get in the system.
I've started to use it, so I'm good.
Good job, Renee. Linda's in there all day, every day.
Linda's got a question in chat.
Oh.
Oh, I just sent it to you, Annika. So I will put it back out to
I didn't even-
everybody. I don't know if you're done and you have a minute.
Okay, let me stop the recording. Hang on one second.